Hello, everybody. This is Mrs. Kramer, and I am back again to talk with you about some more theatrical lesson plans. The things I'm going to talk about today are essentially the acting resume and the portfolio, and then theater headshots if you want to do something professional. So these are some really important things if you want to do anything professional in theater, or if you are, for instance, doing a local audition, or the portfolio is extremely important if you're going to go on after high school to a college that has theater. They might require that you send them a portfolio. So we're going to talk about those things today. And so welcome back. So let me start here with our portfolio, the theatrical portfolio. Of course, all different types of arts have portfolios. There's the artist, the painter, and the sculptor, they have a portfolio. The dancer may have a portfolio, but specifically, we're going to be talking about a theatrical portfolio today. Now, a portfolio, as I said, most often is required when you are applying to a school or trying to get in some type of a program. So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about aspects of that. So if, for instance, you are a theater student, you are interested in studying acting or technical theater, perhaps production or design, that kind of thing, then you would need a theatrical portfolio. I would encourage you, if you're thinking about this type of thing, to start now. As you're in your plays, make sure you're taking pictures of your work and that kind of thing. If you're an actor or actress, make sure you're getting pictures of you on stage, performing, maybe videos, or definitely pictures of you, videos of you singing, performance, that kind of thing. So start documenting now. Now, if you're interested in technical theater, you may have photos of photographs that may include things like props that you've made, perhaps costumes that you've designed, or sets that you've built, scenery, that kind of thing. So those are all important aspects if you're going to be doing technical theater. So as far as a portfolio is concerned, you want to include maybe sketches that you've done, any drawings or draftings or renderings of any kind. Now, all of that would kind of go into the portfolio. You also obviously will need your professional headshot and your resume. Those are things we're going to talk about today because those are probably most relevant to where you are today. So first off, we're going to talk about the resume. Now, some of you, you may or may not have worked a job yet, but you may still know what a resume is. A resume is obviously something that showcases your work. And you can have a resume for just about any type of work. Some of you may have worked a job before. You may be planning on working a job. And so you want to kind of create a resume. A lot of you, this is new for you, so you don't have a lot of experience. So that's what we're going to be talking about here today, too. You don't have a lot of pictures, a lot of background, but we'll talk about that. But essentially, for a resume, some things you need to remember. Resume is going to be one page. It's going to be essentially your work history. It's just one page. You want to try to keep it to that one page, and we'll talk about that, the reason for that as well. It's going to include your education, your honors, any honors you have, production experience, related work experience, skills, conferences you've attended, or any type of special training you've had. And then you'll also want to include references with that. 3 references of people that know your work, maybe teachers could be probably in your case, or someone that you've worked with in a theater setting that have agreed to kind of speak on your behalf in case someone needs to call and say, hey, how is it to work with this particular person? Have you had any trouble? Are they trustworthy? Did they memorize everything? Were they always on time? So they can kind of give you that. But I would like to go into more detail about your acting resume. Of course, when you are the most important thing you're going to need now, because you're not necessarily going to be auditioning for a huge theatrical program, but you may be auditioning for a local play or for your school play. And in those cases, you may need something. You may need two items. There's two of your most important items that you're going to need is a resume and a headshot. And we're going to talk about what both of those are, a resume and a headshot. We've talked a little bit about what a resume is. So we're going to talk about what should go on your acting resume, what should stay on, what should stay off of that, perhaps. What is an auditioner looking for in a resume? We're going to discuss the purpose of an acting resume and review a model, and then we're going to reflect on the process, obviously, of resume. We're going to review a model, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to write your own resume, and that's what you're going to be doing at the end of this lesson. So we'll have you a template that you'll be able to use, and I'll include that, as I said, attached to this with some pointers on how to write a resume. So there is very important information that an actor needs when they audition for that resume. One of the important things you need to remember in any resume, though, when you're first looking at it, is you want to leave a lot of white space. Now, what does that mean? That means not a lot of text, not a lot of writing. In fact, most people will tell you that no one wants to read an entire wall of text, just words and words and words and words and words. White space makes it more comfortable for the eye. The director may have the opportunity to kind of see things better. Usually they'll be skimming the resume anyway. They won't be reading every single little line. They may look at some things you've done. They may skim some certain sections, and much easier to do that when you've left a lot of white space. So let me see. Okay. One of the things that I want you to think about with the resume is it's not just to tell somebody about what you've done, just a list of tasks, bam, 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 this is what I've done, or a list of plays, a list of skills. It's much more than that. What I want you to be thinking about with a resume, any resume, but specifically in theater, is that what you're trying to do is, like I said, not just have a list of things that you've done, but actually you're trying to create conversation. What does that mean? That means that you want to open up a dialogue between you and the auditioner. You want them to be asking you things, talking about things. You want to create a conversation with them. Really what they're trying to do through your audition, through your resume, through your headshot is try to get to know who you are. So there's some very important things. Some of the important things you need to remember are be very specific in your resume. Be very specific about the things that you've done. Be professional, and most importantly, be honest. And because, like I said, those two things are extremely important because the director is trying to get to know who you are. So if you're thinking of it that way, the resume as an opportunity to create a conversation to get to know you, that kind of helps. So what you want to start with is at the very top of the page, you want to make sure that your name is at the top, written boldly, very large, your name. That's how they're going to recognize you, that and your photograph, which we'll talk about shortly. But you want to make sure to type your name in large at the very top, in big letters at the top of your resume, so that it can stand out. Like, let's say when a director is just flipping through a ton of pages and that kind of thing, they will notice your name is what needs to be sticking out if they're looking for something. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, let me pull something up here. Actually, I'm going to pull up another document. I'll share this window with you guys. Here we go. Here we go. I want you guys to take a look at this here. All right, so take a look at this. What this is a sample. Get it straight here. This is a sample of a resume. This is kind of what we're going to give you to look at in here. So it says name here. You notice it's very large at the top. You can see this came from actually from our unit on mock auditions. But you'll see you don't need to include mock audition, just include your name at the very top in large letters. Mine would be Julianne Kramer. And then you want to go down, obviously, on the next part, you're going to include your height, your weight, your eyes, your hair color, and then definitely your street address, your city. You say why, height, and weight, and things. That's kind of important when you're trying to consider who to cast for certain roles. Sometimes I always use the example, use the example one time of Romeo and Juliet. You don't want Romeo to be 5'4" and Juliet to be 6'3". So that might look kind of funny, but there's several things that are very important here. All these things are going to be important at some point when they're costuming. So make sure you include all that information again, just so they can kind of get to know you, just an idea of who are you. So what you'll notice here, this is the training section. Is what let me see. Obviously, the stage checking. Let's try to start right here. It says what you want to show. What you want to show is you want to list everything you've done on the stage. Now, a lot of you may not have a lot of experience, and that's okay. So you might include things that you've done in classes, like if you've done a monologue. You could say, I've done a piece from a Shakespeare play. Maybe you've done a sonnet. So you could say, I've done a piece from Hamlet sonnet, and whatever the number that is. So let me see. But you can see here you've got play listed on the left-hand side. You've got the character that you played in the next column, the director who directed that. That may be your theater teacher, and that's fine. And then on the back, you'll have the theater. Now, in your school, that would be, you see down here, it says Pearl Bailey High School. That's fine. Go ahead and include that. Your most recent things should probably be on the top. What your most recent character, your most recent play. And you notice that's under the section that's called stage. What things you've done on stage. Maybe if you just sang or just danced, you may want to include those types of things. Those types of productions might be helpful. If you go down to the training section, you want to include the names of any programs or schools that you've worked with. Maybe you've just taken a few drama classes. Maybe you took some things locally, but you want to name those particular schools. If you've done some local workshops and things, you can list those. Maybe you've done something on acting or voice or singing. Maybe you have singing lessons. Maybe you've done something at your church. That's fine too. That would be fine here if you've done some singing and had some training. Mime, stage combat, improv, anything like that that you've done would be helpful to list there. So let me see. What you want to do is the training section is going to obviously include things, specific classes or workshops, like I said, acting, voice, singing, mime, and the names of the people. You want to include, like it says here, the name of the instructor. So anyone that's taught those classes is very important. And then in the section at the very bottom, I like to introduce this to people here. It's called special skills. It's a special skills section here. It says, you notice this person has included 10 years of gymnastics training, president of the debate team, plays the violin and the viola and the trumpet. So what this section is for, I think this section is most important, especially when you don't have a lot of experience. This section is helpful, and you could even make it larger if you want to list it out a little more neatly. Maybe you want to list it like you've done your training section. That's fine as well. But special skills section will include any special talents that you have, like playing an instrument, dance, training, singing, any special knowledge that you might have. If you've studied something in particular, you want to include that there. But what I would recommend mostly is, of course, anything outside of acting that you've done. I would recommend for there. Anything outside of acting, that, you know, if you're a history buff, put that down there. Might have something to do with the role. That would be important. But I would encourage you to add something odd and offbeat. Again, you're trying to create a conversation here. You're trying to get this person to get to know you. So what this person said was president of the debate team, plays the violin, viola, and trumpet, attended the circus classes, and can do aerial skills and hoops. Interesting. So maybe you have a talent for roller skating or ice skating or any types of things like that. Maybe you're a basketball player. Those types of things might be helpful. So this person says an interesting fact is they can recite the capitals of all 50 states in under a minute. Now, again, be honest. Make sure you can do something like this, but it's just a little interesting fact. Maybe you want to include something interesting about yourself because, again, you're just trying to create conversation here. So we're going to come back here, and hey, Penelope has joined us. Anyway, my puppy dog says hi. There she is. Hi, puppy dog. So anyway, so we're talking about your, let me see, again, like I said, do not lie on your resume. You want to be honest. In fact, lies can be easily discovered, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. They want to know about you. They want to know about your personality. So make sure that you bring that across. Very important. You can even, there's another thing you can do if you don't have a lot of experience. You can actually include another section called like technical theater. Some of you have done like run a spotlight, where you've helped with costumes, you've helped with makeup, you've helped with things backstage. Any of that would be helpful under technical theater. You can include that kind of thing there. And that would be a good section to add for people that don't have a lot, feel like they have a lot of experience in that specific area. So I would look definitely for that. Like I said, if you only have one or two plays in the theater section or the stage section, you can add something like monologue that you did or a presentation you did. Some people do some things in English class and that kind of thing. Or like I said, at your church, maybe you did something. I would encourage you to do that. Or you even something in elementary school is fine here because that just shows you have some experience. What I would like to do, like I said, I'm going to give you an example of the mock resume so that you can do your own at the end of this. And that's what your assignment's going to be from here. Let me see. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is your headshot. Now you can see my headshot right here. No, not that kind of headshot. What you need when you go into any audition is you have to have a headshot. Like I said, like I've talked about in the past, when you talk about auditioning, one of the most important things is that you follow all the directions. If they're giving you directions, you have to show them that you know how to follow directions. So if a professional, let's say a professional actor shows up and they don't even have a headshot, then you probably won't get the part because you're just showing that you're not following directions. But a director might see, the other thing you need to remember is a director might see hundreds and hundreds of actors. Okay, so the headshot kind of works as a memory tool. They can remember you by your headshot. So it's very important that you get a good one. And think about this, a poorly produced headshot, like just a snapshot you've taken in your bathroom, for instance, in the bathroom mirror, is going to give you an impression that you're not taking the audition very seriously. And it's very important that it comes across professional and neat and nice, including yourself in your picture. So what makes for a good headshot? We've talked about some problems with them, but what type of impression can we get from a headshot? Something you need to think about. Some things you need to think about. Okay, what makes a good one? What impression can you get from it? You think about that. What impression what impression am I giving with this particular headshot? Is the picture warm and inviting, or is it cold and distracting maybe? Is the background distracting? Is there too much going on in the background and you can't really focus on the person in the picture? What is the actor trying to say with their picture? You know, they might be a comedic person, actor, and that's their main thing. Well, they don't want a very serious picture where they're kind of grimacing and not smiling. They kind of want a very fun, at least very lighthearted picture. Now, they don't want to be dressed like a clown, but you get my point. So what are they trying to say with their picture? Do you like this person in the photo? Would you like this person? Would you like yourself in that photo? If you were to meet this person, what do you think? Would you like them? Why or why not? What type of part would you cast this actor in? Again, the director is thinking about all these kinds of things. Does the photo showcase the actor or the photographer? Is it a fancy picture? You don't need anything fancy. You just need something very, very simple. In fact, we're going to include a worksheet that says it's all about your headshot and what you need to do. So the headshot, as I said, is a memory tool. And professional actors really want the person on the other side of the table to remember them and remember their acting. And the headshot, it acts as kind of a connection after you've gone. They have that connection there. You've left something with them. So a poorly produced headshot or amateur headshot gives the impression, as I said, that you're not taking it seriously, or that you're just very casual, or you really don't care. So be careful about that. The headshot must always be an 8x10. Okay, so don't let somebody try to convince you otherwise. It always needs to be an 8x10-inch photograph. The focus of the picture should be on the actor. Again, not the background, not something else. You don't need to be holding a puppy dog or anything of that nature. You want the focus on you, the actor, not the clothes, not the background, again, not the photographer's skills. So the picture must look like you. Don't do your hair too wild or crazy unless you always have it that way. You want to look like you do when you come into the audition. You don't want to have tons of heavy makeup. You want them to see, again, who you are. Okay, so make sure that it is representative of you, the actor. Again, like I said, if you're a comedic actor, don't do a headshot with a frown. It just probably doesn't speak well of you. Or too serious of a headshot. But the opposite is true as well. So actors don't need to really worry about having the same look as somebody else. So don't copy anybody else. Because again, you want you to come across. They want to know you as an individual. What is this particular person's personality? That's going to help them cast. So let me see. Some of these details have changed over the years. Now a color photo is much more appropriate and acceptable, and a 3/4 body shot, let me see, as opposed to only the face. Sometimes it used to be just the face. 3/4 shot is acceptable. And let me see if there's anything else. Again, it is important. It is very important that your shot not be an amateur shot. So I'd recommend that you choose a professional photographer for your headshot. And do not choose a family or friend to just kind of take a snapshot. So those are the things about the headshot. But altogether, all of that, the resume and the all the photographs that you're going to take, now those can be amateur of your work that you've done. All of that and your final headshot can go, and you can have your resume on the back of that. Some people do that. The resume's on the back of the photo. That works fine too, but make sure that your name is on there very clearly, and on your headshot as well. And then keep in mind, all of these things together can create your professional portfolio. That's something, if you want to be a professional actor, that you're going to need to start working on right now. Right here. And so I've enjoyed talking with you again today about this, and good luck at your audition. Good luck on your resume, and take care. Thanks.